I recently joined a hackathon as a judge, and after reviewing 21 different product demos, I found almost half of them don't have enough time to talk about their ideas and demos, and even a few of them don't have enough time to show their demos. What a shame that you spend a couple of days working on a demo and don't have enough time to share to the people, to pitch. And then I find this is actually a very common problem. I've seen too many pitches where the speaker waffled on without getting to the most interesting part of their hack. So how could we improve it? As a designer, there are many cases you need to present your ideas. You need to present your suggestions or solution or your pitch or your findings. But also there's not enough time if you follow the regular steps, like what did you do and what that mean and what's the result. There's a framework is really helpful, which is called the pyramid principle. Today's video, I want to talk a little bit about this and how it can help us to pitch, to present, and also we can deliver the message properly. Just as a brief, it's introduced a structure as a pyramid. So you basically can present your main points at first, and then the main point was supported by different ideas. And those different ideas were in the same level. And in that level, those are the same kind of idea. And also idea should order in a logic way, such as a time order or a spatial order or a sequence order, things like that. And it's followed like down below with other supporting sub ideas. So basically it's a pyramid structure, easy to understand, right? And also, what is this main point? So I need to talk a little bit about the opening for this pyramid principle, like how it can use in a real use case. So basically, if you work on a case, you have some findings or you work on some problem and then you got a solution and you want to present to your friends or to your clients. And this is the opening. So it's introduce the situation first. So which is a good way to keep the scope short and concise, like focused. And then you show the conflict, like the current conflict, the current results, and expected result, that there should be a gap. And that gap is the problem. And during this stage, there will be a question like, oh, how am I able to solve it? And why should we solve this? And also the next step is the A is your answer. So your answer is the main point, and then you can introduce your answer in a much clearer way. So what the good thing about this principle, this pyramid principle framework, it can introduce the most important thing first. And also it can keep people focused on the situation so that they can understand the expected outcome and the current stage, the gap between them as a question, and then you can start to solve the problem. And also there are some reasoning approach that introduced on this principle. I'm not going into details. This could be another video. And the other thing I want to introduce is the defining problem. This is also quite important. So first, you get a setting at first. So this is the setting. For example, now we are solving the pet privacy problem. It sounds quite interesting. Okay. And then the current result. This is the current result, unexpected result. And the result 2, this is the expected result. And what's the gap between them? So this would be the how we can solve it. And basically your pitch is the answer of this question. There could be 3 types of questions. Why? Which is when you claim something or you suggested something. Oh, you recommend something. Oh, we should look at this. And very common question is about why. And then you should reason, like the reason behind it is such and such, or you justificate some facts. And then that could be another question about how, which is already answered, the why question, and people will start to question, how could we solve it? And then you propose your solution, and then the solution will follow by steps or methods. And the third question would be like, how do you know? So this is like you need to convince people need to get buy-in and what you can show to them. So it's normally happen when you state a finding or state a fact, and then you can show the evidence, the data, the source, so that people will know, okay, that sounds good. That sounds accurate. Right. So that's the questions. And how we can get it into the real world scenario. On the top is the main point. And the first one, why you want to solve this, which we can see, okay, this is the result. This is result 1, and this is result 2. So the gap between that is the question we want to solve. And then how means step 1, step 2, or other steps. And how do you know proof 1, proof 2? So this is something that we can follow as the pyramid structure. How this can work. And I mapped this framework, like this is the first version, and then I got the second version, which is the pitch framework 2.0 that I suggested. And also, if I'm going to pitch to some other people, to my clients, I will use this framework. So the C, start with C. C is the situation. C is the scope. So it can narrow people's attention down to a specific problem or setting. And then you show them the conflict, which is what is the current result, and then what is the expected result. So between the current result and expected result, there should be a gap. And the gap is about how you can fill this gap, how you can get this right, how you can get things like down so that you can you can get the expected result. And then you got this answer, like this is my answer. And you might have some bridge sentence or something in the middle to bridge it. And then for answering your solution, for supporting your solution, you might have a few ideas. Idea 1 and idea 2 and idea 3. So this could be a feature, or this could be a user flow, or some selling points. So those ideas are flexible, but it's all support this main point. And then for each idea, you can show them the flow. Okay, this is flow, how people can do with this, and why between that. So while you're doing it, you can explain why you want people to do that, and also the proof. How do you know? So it can follow the same structure, like, and consider time or like the cognitive load for people, no more than 7, and ideally 3 or 4 features, key selling points is good enough to pitch. And then you go to the closing. The closing could be a recap, like to remind people those are the 3 selling points, or how you feel the gap between the current results and expected results. And also you can follow and ask, and we always call it call to action, right? So what you want people to do, maybe sign up, maybe support you, or maybe give you some questions. So those are the things you can suggest. So that's the pitch framework. How it can work in a real world scenario or like a real case. Here is a very like a fake project I want to show as an example. The product called PerCam. Basically, it's a camera for cats, and that sounds really silly, but I asked my lovely Claude to generate those one sentence pitch and follow this structure, and then I fill it with this pitch deck structure. So yeah, you see on the situation. So this step we talk about the hidden life of cats, and then it's about the gap. The gap is, okay, the result is that cats just playing by themselves. We don't know what their life looks like. And then the expected result is that, oh, I want to understand, I want to see, I'm curious. So how can we fill this gap? And then we got this, like how we can solve this. And the solution is the product, is the answer. Camera on the cat, that can help us to understand what they do in their mysterious life. And then we got this main point, okay? So we got the product called PerCam. And then after the brief sentence, they'll follow with the feature 1. This is the hardware. This is one major selling point. It's cat approved. It's really light. And idea 2, which is the selling point 2, is AI daily real. So it can just put everything to your server or somewhere on the cloud so that you can see. And idea 3 is, okay, cat can be a wildlife filmmaker, can help you find something, and also can share something from the rooftop or somewhere. So could be quite interesting. And after that, a closing. Here's the recap. It's ready to ship, and also that's the statement at the end, built for a camera operator who's a cat. Okay, let's see how it works as a presentation, and let the magic start. All right, now let's have a look how it works.
There are over 600 million pet cats in the world, and we love them, but we have no idea what they actually do all day. Indoor cats spend 70% of their waking hours away from their owners, and outdoor cats vanish into a black box of fences, neighbors, and the occasional bird, leaving owners anxious, curious, and completely in the dark about their cat's real life. Right now, the best we can do is a static pet camera bolted to a wall, watching an empty room while the cat is somewhere else entirely. What owners actually want is to see the world through their cat's eyes, the chases, the naps, the secret rooftop kingdom. So how do you put a camera somewhere it's never been before, on the cat itself, without the cat hating you for it? Meet PerCam ***, a 1-2 gram color camera that streams your cat's day in HD, auto-edits the boring parts, and your cat doesn't even know it's there. Let me show you what a Tuesday afternoon looks like from 30 centimeters off the ground. Every evening at 9 p.m. you get a 90-second highlights reel, birds spotted, naps logged, mystery zoomies explained. No one watches 14 hours of cat cam footage. We use the same on-device ML stack as GoPro highlights, retrained on cat perspective motion patterns. In beta, daily reel open rate is 89%, higher than Instagram stories from your closest friends. This is Mochi finding a hedgehog in someone's garden at 2 a.m. last Thursday. Auto-tagged, mapped, shareable. Owners aren't just curious, they're emotionally invested. Sharing your cat's discoveries is the new dog park photo. Our beta users shared an average of 4 clips per week to social 3x, the rate of any pet photo app we benchmarked. PerCam is the first camera built for the camera operator who happens to be a cat. We're looking for a hardware advisor and a veterinary partner. Find me at table 7. I'll have cat photos.
Right. See, this is the structure and how it works. It's quite short, only a few minutes, but basically you can share all your ideas and the problem they are solving and how you solve it, and also how do you know about this solution works. Right. Now you probably have a sense that how it looks. So this pyramid principle, how it works for your pitch or your presentation. Hope you like it and hope you get the best pitch for your next great idea. And let me know if you have any comments or thoughts below. Ciao.